feeling head-on, we're doing a deep dive on career plateaus.
Love it.
We're looking at two great sources today. We've got Goko.io's page on career plateaus and this really insightful article from Adures called Navigating Career Plateaus.
Nice. Should be interesting to see what they have to say.
So get ready for some actionable advice to help you break free from that rut and reignite your career.
I'm ready.
So let's start with the basics. What exactly is a career plateau? Goko.io calls it a feeling of stagnation.
Stagnation, yeah.
Like a lack of growth in your career, not just a pause.
Right, and it's not just about hitting a ceiling with promotions either, you know. The Adures article talks about how it's also about how satisfied you are internally.
I see.
It's that feeling that your career trajectory has stalled, even if you are moving up.
It's almost like a disconnect between where you are and where you want to be professionally.
Yeah, exactly.
And Goko.io points out some red flags you might recognize, like feeling unchallenged, not learning new things.
Right.
Or that been there, done that feeling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's so common. Gallup found that only about a third of U.S. employees feel engaged at work.
Wow.
So that means a huge number of people are probably feeling some level of career plateau.
Yeah.
You're definitely not alone if you're feeling that way.
That really puts it in perspective.
Yeah.
Now, Goko.io breaks down career plateaus into three main categories: structural, content, and life.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced any of these?
Oh, absolutely. I think we all have at some point.
Yeah.
Let's break those down a little bit to make them more relatable. Imagine someone stuck in a job with no room for growth within their company.
Okay.
That's a structural plateau. The company structure itself is the limiting factor.
So it's less about the individual's performance, more about the limitations of the organization?
Exactly. Then you've got the content plateau. Maybe your work feels repetitive, you're not being challenged, you've mastered your current role, but the next step just isn't enticing.
You're basically just going through the motions at that point.
Right. And finally, there's the life plateau. This one's more personal. Maybe you prioritized family over climbing the corporate ladder.
Right.
Or chosen a less demanding job for a better work-life balance.
It's really about aligning your career choices with your personal values and priorities.
Exactly. And what's important to remember here is that none of these types are inherently bad. It's all about recognizing what's driving your plateau and then figuring out if it's something you want to change.
That's a really important point. Now, we've talked about identifying these plateaus, but why does it even matter?
Right.
What happens if you just, stay plateaued?
Well, what might seem like minor signs, they can actually snowball into some more serious consequences. Goko.io mentions things like decreased motivation, which can impact productivity and even affect team morale.
It's like a domino effect. One thing leads to another.
Exactly. And that's why it's crucial to address it early on. Think of it this way. Recognizing you're on a plateau is actually the first step toward getting unstuck.
So we've laid out the problem, but now comes the good part. What can we do about it? Goko.io gives us a pretty good list of strategies for overcoming a plateau, like self-assessment, skills upgrades, networking, mentorship, even job rotation.
Yeah, those are all fantastic strategies.
Yeah.
And, you know, if we zoom in on skills upgrades for a moment, it's clear that investing in yourself is rarely a bad move.
Right.
It could be formal education, online courses, or even just diving into industry publications, anything that keeps you learning and growing.
It's about taking charge of your own development, really, no matter what stage you're at in your career. Out of all those strategies, though, is there one that stands out to you as being particularly effective for navigating a plateau?
They all have their place, I think. But if I had to pick one, I'd say mentorship can be incredibly powerful. Think about it. Having someone who's been there, done that, to offer guidance and support, that can be invaluable.
Yeah.
The Association for Talent Development actually found that people with mentors are 5 times more likely to experience significant career growth.
5 times? Wow. That's huge. So how can our listeners actually find a mentor in their field? Is it as simple as just asking someone to be your mentor?
While directly asking someone can work, it's often more organic than that.
Okay.
Start by networking within your field. Attend industry events, join professional organizations, or even connect with people on LinkedIn. As you build those relationships, you'll naturally find individuals who inspire you, people that you can learn from. And don't be afraid to reach out to those people for a virtual coffee chat or to pick their brain about their career journey.
That's a great point. Sometimes just having those conversations can spark new ideas, open up possibilities that you hadn't even considered.
Exactly.
Speaking of possibilities, the Adjures article had some great insights on kind of shifting our mindset when it comes to career plateaus. They were suggesting it's not always about relentlessly climbing the corporate ladder anymore. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a critical shift in perspective. Today, it's more about defining what you truly want out of your career, not just following some predetermined path.
Okay.
It's about figuring out your personal goals and values. And those might not always align with the traditional definition of career success.
So it's about taking control of your own narrative, defining success on your own terms, really. I like that. Now, Adjures also offered some concrete strategies that complement GoCo.io's advice really well, like skill development. What I found interesting was their emphasis on soft skills.
Yeah.
Things like emotional intelligence. Why do you think those are so important in today's world?
Those soft skills are becoming more and more important in today's collaborative work environment. LinkedIn actually found that emotional intelligence is a key differentiator for high performers.
Interesting.
It's not just about what you know, it's about how you navigate those interpersonal relationships, communicate effectively, and lead with empathy. And these skills, they're valuable across industries and roles, which is essential in today's ever-changing job market.
That makes a lot of sense. It's not just about technical expertise anymore. It's about how you interact with others, navigate those complex situations.
Precisely. And another strategy Adjures highlights is the power of lateral moves.
Okay.
We often get caught up in this idea of always moving up.
Yeah.
But sometimes a sidestep can be just as beneficial, if not more so.
So instead of seeing it as a step sideways, you see it as a step towards like a broader range of experience.
Exactly. Forbes reports that almost a third of employees are considering lateral moves to combat stagnation.
Really?
These moves allow you to broaden your experience, gain exposure to different aspects of the business, and potentially even uncover new passions.
I can see how that could reignite your enthusiasm, even open doors to new opportunities down the road. It's about playing the long game, really, and not being afraid to explore those unconventional paths. Now, we've talked a lot about those external strategies, but Adjures also highlights the importance of, like, personal development. Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Absolutely. Taking care of yourself is crucial, especially when you feel stuck in a rut.
Okay.
A career plateau can actually be the ideal time to invest in yourself, to pursue those passions and interests you've been putting off.
It's about nurturing your whole self, not just the employee part.
Right. Whether it's taking an online course, learning a new language, picking up a musical instrument, or just dedicating more time to reading, expanding your knowledge base and skill set enriches your life. And it can unexpectedly benefit your career in the future.
It's like that saying, the more you learn, the more you realize how much you don't know, which keeps you curious and open to new possibilities. Adjures also brought up the concept of setting, like micro goals. Can you explain why those are so helpful?
Absolutely. Those big, ambitious goals, they can feel really overwhelming, especially during a plateau.
Yeah.
Micro goals help you break them down into smaller, more manageable steps.
Instead of focusing on this huge, daunting goal, you're focusing on the immediate, achievable steps.
Exactly. So instead of aiming to become CEO overnight, you might focus on mastering a specific leadership skill, attending a relevant conference, or seeking out a mentor in your field. These smaller achievements help you stay motivated and build momentum.
It's about acknowledging and celebrating those small wins along the way to stay motivated and prevent yourself from feeling stuck. What I'm hearing is that navigating a career plateau is as much about our mindset as it is about taking specific actions.
You hit the nail on the head. It's about reframing the experience, recognizing it as an opportunity for growth and reinvention rather than a setback.
Yeah, so it sounds like viewing a career plateau as like a detour rather than a dead end. That's a really powerful mindset shift.
It really is.
It's a chance to kind of pause, reassess, and maybe explore new directions.
Exactly. Instead of I'm stuck, it's I have an opportunity. What can you do with this time? Maybe it's diving deeper into your current field, or maybe it's, like you said, exploring something entirely new.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We talked about identifying the signs of a career plateau, understanding the different types, all those strategies for overcoming it. As we wrap things up, is there one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
You know, if I could leave our listeners with just one thought, it's this. A career plateau, while potentially frustrating, is not the end of the road. It's actually a crossroads. You get to choose which path you take next.
I love that. It's not a stop sign, it's a chance to kind of redirect your journey.
Precisely. Use this time to your advantage. Reflect on your goals, invest in your development, network, seek guidance, and most importantly, don't be afraid to take on those new challenges.
Turn that plateau into a launch pad. Thank you so much for guiding us through this deep dive into career plateaus. This has been incredibly insightful. And listeners, remember, you're not alone in this journey. We all hit these plateaus at some point in our careers.
Absolutely. And these plateaus, they're not failures. They're simply pauses that allow for growth and reassessment.
Maybe even a chance to chart an entirely new course. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive. We hope this episode has empowered you to see those plateaus in a new light and given you some actionable steps to create the career you truly desire. Until next time, keep those minds curious and keep those careers thriving.